Burton at Dr. Cindy Trimm's In Your Year Strong Summit. My good friend Valorie is an author, podcaster of Successful Women Think Differently, a coach, and a speaker. Valorie, you're a top 60 motivational speaker in the United States, a top 100 thought leader in personal development. You're a life strategist, an international speaker, and CEO of Coaching and Positive Psychology. Can you break down positive psychology for us?
Yes, so we tend to think of traditional psychology as fixing problems and issues, which is really important. Positive psychology is the study of what happens when things go right with us. What happens when we are happy? What happens when we perform at our highest levels and we flourish? And so that's what positive psychology is. So over the years, when I was actively coaching one-on-one, the majority of my clients were women, not all. But now the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute trains personal and executive coaches. So we've trained coaches from every state in the U.S. and 28 countries around the world, and it's positive psychology based. So, coaching is still a fairly new field. It's been around about 30 years, and my interest was that it not be anecdotal. Like, what does the research say about how people can actually change and transform their lives or perform better? And that's when I discovered positive psychology.
What was the catalyst for you to identify positive psychology as your path?
I used to be in public relations. I owned my own PR firm when I lived in Dallas. I was good at it because communication is my strength. It's always come easily for me, but I didn't feel like PR was my thing long term. So I prayed about it. It took a couple of years when I had an epiphany one day. I was actually at an NABJ convention, Black Journalist Convention in Seattle. It was quite a while ago. It was 1999, and I had an epiphany that I was supposed to be inspiring others to live more fulfilling lives, that I would do it through writing and speaking. And so I began writing that first book. Within a few weeks of that epiphany, I published it. Being in PR, I got a lot of media attention. I had a goal of getting a big publisher, which eventually a division of Random House picked up that book, and I've written 13 since then.
Valorie, tell us about your publishing experience.
First book was self-published. The first book was my third attempt at writing a book, and the key difference was I knew I was supposed to be writing. I didn't have my purpose yet. When I had that epiphany, the writing took off, and so I wrote that book at night and on the weekends while I was running the PR firm. I published it, literally had the epiphany in July. I had a book in my hand the day before Thanksgiving. I was hyper-focused on a publisher. So that following summer, I went to the big Book Expo America, happened to meet an incredible editor who was looking for fiction but gave my book a look, and the next week made an offer. And so that is how it all started, and it just has kept going. For 25 years now.
Well, let's talk about one of our favorite topics, which is purpose. Valorie, how did you walk into your purpose?
I needed to know why I needed to write. Once I understood my why, how I was meant to impact other people, that was just so clear to me that it guided the writing. The speaking opportunities have come from the writing. Coaching actually came from that. My first literary agent had a client who was a nationally known coach. I had never heard of coaching. As I learned about coaching, I realized it was the one-on-one of what I was writing and speaking about. And I started coaching, and then my love of learning kicked in, and it was like, is there any research to back this up? Because it's working. Coaching really works. And that's when I discovered positive psychology, which led, with my entrepreneurial spirit, to found the CAP Institute, the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute.
How does your faith impact your path as a coach, author, and beyond?
For me, faith has been the center of why I'm doing what I'm doing. As I said, I prayed about my purpose. I was successful in the business that I had, but whenever I try to create a vision moving forward, it didn't excite me. Something was missing, and it was purpose. So the only reason I've pursued what I'm doing is because I know it's what I'm called to do. And the doors have opened in that direction. When I'm doing what I'm called to do, it's not that it's not sometimes hard to, to be consistent, to do the thing, especially those first few years. Business was not easy, but I saw the confirmation that I was on the right path. But there were always those times where I thought, well, if I went back to PR, I could make a lot more money, right? But I sensed in my spirit, actually it was a very distinct directive, you will never make more money doing anything other than what I called you to do, if you stick with it. And so that was, that all of that, the faith and the finance, of course, come together. And it wasn't that faith came into my path, faith was the path.
Valorie, share the one scripture that always lifts you up.
Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. So that for me has been huge. I don't always understand why things happen the way they happen, but it points me back to God. He will direct my path. I just have to get quiet, ask, listen, follow. It puts things into perspective for me.
We're here at Dr. Cindy Trimm's EYYS Summit, Gaining Perspective for 2024. Tell us how you ended 2023.
So I'm wrapping things up right now in the best possible way. I like to ask 3 questions at the end of the year. 1, what am I most proud of? Right? I think you've got to look back and say, how did I get this far this year? Even if it's not as far as you wanted to go. And then secondly, what's my biggest lesson out of this year? Take the wisdom, even out of the stuff that you didn't want to go through, and pull that wisdom so you go into the next year wiser. And then how am I going to apply that wisdom? That helps drive my vision for the coming year, to build on the wisdom gained and apply it moving forward.
Okay, everyone, be sure to check out Valorie Burton's latest book, Let Go of the Guilt. Stop beating yourself up and take back your joy. That's a Be Lifted Up library edition, if I ever heard one.
Thank you.
Listen, you guys, you can follow Valorie Burton on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Valorie Burton. That's VALORIE BURTON. Valorie Burton.